It's time for The Scrap House with Austen Lane and Kasey Kurtz on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, that was something.
That was something.
Surely something there.
11 o'clock on the dot.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought maybe we'd get on at like 10. Things would be cool. Everything would be good.
Nope.
Not exactly.
Circadian rhythms be damned, man. It is what it is, but we're here. We're going to break it all down. SummerSlam 2024 in the books.
And we were just sitting here kind of watching how it played out at the end there.
Yeah.
And holy cow, we'll get to that in a minute once I can get my headphones straightened. If you can't see, having a bit of a debacle in here, Austin, but we'll get it figured out one way or another. Overall, before we break down the matches, I thought for the most part, super quality. Great storytelling. You paid off a lot of stuff. It felt really good.
Yeah, top to bottom. I don't think there was really a match that actually missed. You know, I mean, we'll obviously break down match by match, but like the overall consensus, just thinking about it right now, you know, and obviously the recency bias, I think it was a pretty damn good, you know, SummerSlam. I mean, keep in mind, like, to me, you got WrestleMania, Royal Rumble's a big one, but SummerSlam is almost like the B-side of, like, WWE. You know, I mean, you have WrestleMania headlining, and then the B-side is SummerSlam. And, yeah, you know, like, I was expecting maybe The Rock to make an appearance tonight. I mean, he said he'd be back. What better time than now to bring back The Rock and everything? We'll see him down the road. Obviously, Roman Reigns comes back. We'll talk about that in the main event, obviously. That's going to be the big story. But also, and we'll break that down later too, is Jacob Fatu, if he's actually hurt or not, because the finish of the main event I thought lacked a little bit, and we'll break that down. But the first match of the night, Kasey, let's get into that one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go all the way front to back, and we'll start at the beginning. Similar to, I believe it was night 2 of WrestleMania, where you had Rhea Ripley kick it off, and they made that decision again, and it was an unbelievable decision. I mean, it started a bit questionable. I was like, how long are we going to have Liv Morgan run away? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
It eventually obviously comes around, and we'll get to that. But my main thought while watching the match play out, because you kind of had a feeling with Dom out there that something was going to happen, my main thought was the WWE has a Rhea Ripley problem because she's so damn good. Yeah. Like, she was better than Liv Morgan. She has not wrestled in months. I was wondering about that, and I think that came up with CM Punk. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But she's so good.
No,
I don't know what they're going to be able to do because she's the best they got, and that happened to her.
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised, Kasey, theoretically, in 2 years' time, she might be like The Rock in terms of movies and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, just put her through the gauntlet. Like, all the action movies and everything, it'll be Rhea Ripley's time. Now, you could kind of tell something was up, though, the way that match started. You know, like they're backstage. She's with Dom and everything, a little extra, like, in the camera. I'm like, okay, yeah, obviously we can expect Dom to turn tonight. And if you go back last Wednesday on the stream and watch what we talked about, I mean, we all saw this coming. This was kind of the obvious choice and everything. I will say this, though, about Rhea Ripley. Yes, talented wrestler. And as someone who has dislocated their shoulder many times playing football and had to have a full labor and repair, she sold that thing to a T.
Yeah.
Like, the entire match, just, you know, the looks that she was giving, she was selling it. And then, obviously, the image that sticks out to me was when she essentially lowered herself onto the table and, you know, put her shoulder back into play. I mean, there was a point where I thought, like, oh, her shoulder's actually out. Because if you go back and watch the match, she says to the ref, you can kind of hear it if you have the volume up, like, yeah, my shoulder's out.
She said it was out, yeah.
Now, I didn't know if it was actually out or not, but if it wasn't out, she did a fantastic job of selling it, and it put it over the top when she essentially reset it herself and put it back in by the table.
Yeah, it was really good, and I think when you're watching that play out in terms of when she first said her shoulder was out, they were like taking close-ups of it. I'm like, it kind of does look gross, but kind of at the same time, like, you know, it doesn't look outrageous. And then she did all of that, which was, I mean, was pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It was interesting at the bare minimum. And then I wasn't sure how we were going to get to the point that we were going to get to. And I thought that was the best part of it because I think everybody kind of had the same feeling that Dom was here to do this.
Correct. It's just how do you get to that point?
How do you get to that point? And I thought it was genius. And you didn't like it?
So I'll say this. We all knew that that moment was coming. I would have liked to see. So first, Rhea Ripley had the chair. She was going to obviously be DQ'd. Dom stops her there. You'd think, okay, well, maybe they are still on the same team. Let's see how this plays out. And then, almost in true Eddie Guerrero fashion, there's the chair. He distracts the ref, and Liv Morgan finishes Rhea Ripley 1-2-3. Yes, see, at that moment when the chair was there and Dom distracted the ref, yeah, Rhea lost, but I was almost like, okay, well, did Dom actually screw Rhea, or did they kind of mess that up a little bit? Was he intending for Rhea, to have her finish her on that chair? Or was that the plan all along? And then it wasn't until they got to the, obviously they're walking out, and then Dom starts making out with Liv Morgan, where it's like, okay, so that was part of the plan the entire time. The big reveal didn't happen until they started making out. I would have loved there it is. I would have loved the big reveal to be more of Dom has the chair and actually hits Rhea Ripley in the back. Because that to me is more of a shock and awe as opposed to waiting for 1, 2, 3. Wait, did that just happen? He's making out with Liv Morgan. Okay, that's the shock and awe moment.
Yeah, the reason that I did like it is because I had a feeling where it was going, but still, even when the match ended, I was like, they either botched it or this, I still didn't really know. And it was like, okay, where is Dom? I know he's in that direction. And then, obviously, they play it the way that they do, and then Dom gets to play an unbelievable role again. Shout out to this guy, bro. Is Dom
living the best life ever?
Dude.
And about to get nuclear heat on Monday Night Raw. Nuclear heat.
Unbelievable. The most hated man in America, but bro is not complaining about his job for one single minute.
Yeah.
Overall, I really did like the match. I thought they played it out well. I thought the only thing you could have done, which you may now do because you don't see main event Jey Uso in the end.
Yeah.
So what happens there? But what now do you do with Rhea Ripley?
Well, I mean, that's
it.
Yeah, I mean, this had to happen for Rhea Ripley, though. She had to cut the Judgment Day loose because I think she's too big of a star that she doesn't need the Judgment Day. She can do this.
Cut her loose.
Well, they kind of cut her. Well, really, Dom kind of cut her loose. She's still in the Judgment Day, but then obviously we see Finn Balor. We'll talk about that later too as well. So the Judgment Day right now is probably going to be split up unless Dom takes the Judgment Day over and it's a new version with Liv Morgan, Dom, I don't know, Carlito, whoever the case may be.
Got to get Carlito out.
With Rhea now though, you're not going to stop the feud. There's still unfinished business here between Dom. So that feud's still going to happen. What I see now is Liv inserting herself in the Judgment Day and essentially taking over Rhea Ripley's life, and then Rhea Ripley having to have kind of that redemption arc, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I just, don't get me wrong, I'll be thrilled to see Rhea Ripley wrestle again for the title, but it gives me weird Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker vibes. We couldn't do it now, but in a month we can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting how they play that out because really there's nothing else she should be doing than being the champion, in my opinion, with Rhea Ripley. Again, I think she's fantastic. I think it showed it again. I thought she was the star of the match the whole time. Liv Morgan had her moments, don't get me wrong. She is the champion for a reason. She's good. But I thought Rhea Ripley was really, really good the whole time. And, she doesn't get the title. So where do you eventually go after she gets over that her boy toy left her for Liv Morgan?
I mean, I think you're going to see that rematch at Bash in Berlin, which is taking place August 31st in Germany. I don't know, maybe some sort of stipulation, no rules, extreme rules, tables, ladders, and shit, whatever the case may be. Because you don't really need to see another Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan straight up match.
I do not.
Because without any interference, you feel like Rhea would just, squash her. But if you incorporate extreme rules, whatever, some kind of rule set, street fight in Berlin, I don't know, that kind of equals it a little bit. Then obviously you can have Dom getting involved in that as well. So yeah, they're gonna have probably the rematch at the Bash in Berlin, then we'll go from there. But once again, I don't think Rhea needs the Judgment Day. I think she's fine on herself. And once again, she proved that even though she had a lot of time off, she came in right away and still did the damn thing.
Speaking of things that should have happened a month ago, Braun Breaker is your Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. I feel like you had a hard time visualizing him dropping another one to Sammy. It was the right choice. What did you think of the match overall?
Quality. I thought you got to see a lot of just Braun Breaker's a different person. Like the speed, you saw it. The athleticism, you saw it. The high flying, why is he doing this? You saw it. I mean, it gets to a point where it's undeniable, and I think that's what you saw. And Sami Zayn, again, I think Sami Zayn can pretty much play any role you need him to.
Yeah.
Champion, sure. Dominant, okay. Getting absolutely destroyed. But compliment in this match to basically continue to show off the skill set, I think, of Braun Breaker. I think that's what that was. It's definitely the right decision. Yeah. I'm a big fan.
So it was definitely the right decision, Casey, and we both agree about Braun Breaker. Like, he's going to be the future. Like, he's the future star. I will say this, though. I thought Sammy came out of this one looking a little weak. And we've seen Sami Zayn matches where he's put on instant classics. And I wish, especially for, Braun Breaker getting the title and everything, I wish the match would have felt a little more like a classic as opposed to a squash. I don't want to call it a squash, but it was a shorter match. Braun definitely got the best of him. Sammy was overpowered. But we've seen Sammy versus Roman Reigns. We've seen Sammy beat Gunther. We've seen Sammy beat Braun Breaker. I would have liked a little longer of a match to showcase Sammy's skill set as well and make it that classic. So when Braun Breaker, beats him, it's even more impressive. But I get what they're trying to do here. They're trying to show overpowered Braun Breaker. He learned his lesson. He learned from his mistakes the first time against Sami Zayn, and here we are now.
Yeah, I wanted him to squash him a month ago. So the idea that this one even went as long as it did, I was like, can we just get this out of the way? Now the question, I think, I think Braun Breaker's rolling with this thing, and I think that's where they are with a couple of different titles. But for me, I mean, sure, he will have matches, I understand. But nobody's beating Braun Breaker for a long time, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's going to hang on to that belt for a while, I feel like. Do you get Logan Paul involved with him in some?
It's a great question.
Because – and here's the thing we can talk about, too, a little bit. Like, in that match tonight, Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, it was obvious who the heel and who the face was. But Braun still has, like, that face appeal. Like the like everyone, like – there's a lot to like about Braun Breaker. Obviously, he's a legacy. I wonder if you turn him face now, or if you just keep him as that badass who's a heel. I mean, he's really one of the only guys I can visualize who can do both right now, where you can make a case for both sides.
Somebody on that show has to be a face champion, though, right?
You would think so.
Because Liv's not.
Yeah.
Gunther's not.
True.
So.
Yeah. So I think you do turn him face, and if that's the case, I mean, Logan Paul might be available for that to go against the heel. But, yeah, I think you turn Braun Breaker face. But once again, I think it speaks a lot about his skill set and his character where you can kind of do both things, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do it all. But, again, you got to have somebody that people like. I would think you could go all three champs that no one's really excited to see. That could be interesting. What now for Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn's done a lot. It feels like maybe, in my opinion, we'll see in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually what you lead more towards Sami Zayn, you got Survivor Series taking part in November. I think that's taking place in Vancouver, British Columbia. Sami Zayn being from Canada, it makes sense if you have Survivor Series, maybe have like a new school versus old school bloodline. That make a lot of sense. I think Roman, and this is something where Cody can kind of you can kind of focus Cody on some other stuff now, whether it's, Randy Orton turning on him, things like that. So, yeah, I think the next logical thing for Sami Zayn, I mean, you might have a couple one-offs here or there, but I think the next big thing for Sami Zayn is going to be an old-school bloodline versus a new-school bloodline at Survivor Series.
I like it. I like it a lot. Talking about SummerSlam, we see you in the chat. We'll try to get to them as we go along, getting through the card. And the next thing that happened was...
Well, we found out who Mr. Cleveland was.
I mean...
We found out who Mr. Cleveland was.
Yeah. Is he?
No.
No.
I would have much rather have seen Johnny Manziel
Yep.
than Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, it was
for Mr. Cleveland. And I don't know, Johnny Manziel lasted, 2 years in Cleveland or whatever it was?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's more of Mr. Cleveland than MGK is now. Hey, the fact that when I had my UFC fight here in Jacksonville and I got more love than a stadium of 60,000 people cheering and Machine Gun Kelly got maybe 2-3 high fives?
Yeah, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Not one
We're all
person.
set.
Barely
We're all
Logan
set.
Paul cared.
Nice touch, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, LA Knight. I do got to say, Logan Paul, tough week. I got my pride.
Casey's going down with the ship.
I can't. I got to pour one out for Logan Paul, man.
Casey's going down with the ship, pouring it out. Where's that go? Is that on the speakers? What are you doing?
It's not good. Don't tell
wow. I mean, this could be grounds for the whole thing. Hey, well, that is the best thing to do with it because you ain't drinking it.
I got to pour one out for my United States champion. I even got the United States bottle.
Well, Logan, it's been fun. Nothing like getting your ass kicked at home.
Stuff.
In front of all the Boo Birds, by the way.
Dude.
Thought he was going to come out in those Cleveland Brown colors and get some cheers. Nah.
Not one person was happy to see Logan Paul.
Even the kids were giving little fingers.
Except me. I was the only one excited to see Logan Paul. But here's the thing. Logan Paul was the better man in that match. LA Knight was good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
LA Knight did a lot of cool stuff. Logan Paul was better.
It was a good match. It was a good match overall. A couple things. First of all,
holy cow.
yeah, I love the commitment to the bit though, man. I'm not mad at it.
Thank you.
First of all, your boy Logan, why he came out first as a champ, I have no idea. I mean, that made it kind of obvious right there that LA Knight was going to win.
I agree.
Now, LA Knight showing up and trying to smash the window.
Oh, dude, not good.
Didn't have to happen. That could have happened on Friday night.
Yeah, not good.
Just saying.
Really not good.
Just saying. Overall, though, I enjoyed the match. Thought Logan Paul broke his neck off that, top rope, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I thought it was over. Yeah, I thought that was bad.
It was supposed to be, I think, just suplex got modified to a brain buster. That looked pretty nasty. Listen, I know what we can say here, and we can say that, well, Logan Paul had a bad week, and maybe that's why he dropped the belt. The more I think about it, though, Casey, the more I believe this was going to be the plan all along. I mean, it just so happens that you have an LA Knight commercial with Slim Jims right after that.
Yeah.
All right, and then you had the Macho Man making a cameo from the old days. Like, I think the plan was to always put the belt on LA Knight, regardless of what Logan Paul tweeted this week, simply because LA Knight needed a win a lot more than Logan Paul did.
Yep.
Logan Paul is going to rest on his mic skills. Logan Paul is going to rest on his in-ring work, his notoriety, his popularity. LA Knight with the catchphrases, with the climb to relevancy, still needed a win tonight. Because if he wouldn't have won tonight, I'm not sure what we're talking about with LA Knight then. So I think he had to put the belt on him to make him relevant. I think Logan Paul is going to be just fine. Probably going on to something different now. Fully
agree. I mean, I like LA Knight. I also like Logan Paul, but LA Knight needed it, and it made a lot of sense. I don't necessarily agree. I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it had anything to do with the bad week that Logan Paul had because he was very much still on SmackDown. He was very much still involved here. Nobody was happy to see him, but it is what it is. And I'm telling you, my main thought as that was happening was he don't need this title.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's how you feel about Tiffy with the briefcase. It's how I feel about Logan Paul. Like, he's good enough, dude. Like, I don't know where you go. The Braun Breaker idea is interesting. Like, I don't think he's going after Cody, but, I mean, he doesn't need the United States title. LA Knight did, and I think we will get to the point where LA Knight doesn't because he hasn't had it for a while. Right, he hasn't had any time.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like this guy was on the doorstep last year, Casey, to be a WWE champion, like the world champion.
Right.
And then you kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit when The Rock came back, and all of a sudden, like the gimmick, like it was great, but sorry, LA Knight, we're focused on over here with The Rock and the Bloodline storyline, and we almost forgot about LA Knight a little bit. And credit to him, like he still remained relevant through all of that. But you felt like he was kind of losing his luster a little bit, especially in this feud with Logan Paul, where Logan was kind of getting the best of him on the mic, which is kind of LA Knight's, MO. So it was the right decision. It had to happen because if it wasn't going to be tonight, Casey, well, then when was it going to be?
Yep.
You know, and when you have a guy like LA Knight who essentially has kind of come out of nowhere the past year and become this household name, you got to eventually capitalize on it. And what better time than in Cleveland at SummerSlam?
Yep. And I will be intrigued to see how this plays out. I think there's a lot of people on SmackDown that could potentially play in here. Does LA Knight go at it a little different than Logan Paul in terms of is he defending a lot more often than Logan Paul? And then the biggest part of this now for me is you go back to like real life and you say, okay, Logan Paul said some dumb stuff the other day on the internet.
Yeah.
Does he now go away for a while? Is there now was there actually something to him dropping the title? Don't get me wrong, I'm not condoning or agreeing with anything he said, right? You say stupid stuff. He did that. There's no doubt about it. But I don't want to see him disappear, Austin, to be real with you. I still want him to be involved, and I'd like to see him go for something, another title, another feud, something. But, I guess that's yet to be seen with the stuff that happened in real life.
See, it's yet to be seen, especially when I feel like Logan Paul has so much momentum right now. I felt like he really found his voice in this whole feud with LA Knight. He gained a lot more confidence on the mic. Like I said, he essentially got the better of LA Knight pretty much through every single exchange. So the guy right now is more on top of his game than ever. I get what you're saying, Casey, where you don't want to see him kind of leave right now because it seems like he is on fire and one of the top heels of the company. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him take some time off, because I don't think you're not going to run the LA Knight feud back again. I think we've exhausted all those options. We've exhausted everything now. Let LA Knight go do something else. Maybe give Logan Paul a little time off, and then let him come back and start something new.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see, and we'll see where he goes. I think that's a big part of it too, because right now, obviously, a lot of what happens on Friday is going to be centered around Roman Reigns now that he is back. But LA Knight is a champ. I am happy for him. Logan Paul poured one out for the guy. We got
literally the whole one.
It's all gone. It's all on the floor.
Shout out to the cleaning lady. He's going to do extra overtime today.
We got a situation.
Okay, so before we go to the next match here, we got Bayley and Nia Jax. Let's go to the comments a little bit, see what people are saying in the chats. So we got a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Squirrel says the window could have sold the pipe a little bit better in terms of the Prime-Mobile.
So here's what I initially thought about that window. I'm like, is that like bulletproof? Because it's like a Hummer essentially.
Yep.
I'm like, is that like bulletproof glass? I didn't really think about this, and he's gonna try to smash the window, and it's not gonna smash, and it's gonna be the most embarrassing entrance of all time. But thankfully, he got it done on the second or third attempt.
Yeah, it was rough though, huh? You got to make sure you're gonna get
not
it
the best. Yeah, and once again, could have did that Friday night. I thought.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Steve Boston says it was obvious in terms of Logan Paul. It was obvious he was going to lose wearing Browns colors, honestly. Yeah, that does make sense.
A tale as old as time.
Nathan Dean saying, love that y'all doing the WWE reactions. Roman and Cody rematch for WrestleMania. And then, yeah.
That could be a possibility.
So that's where we are in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Tell your friends
as well. Before we get to Bayley Nia Jax, remember when Otis was gonna?
Yeah. Let's talk about this real quick.
Yeah, that's foul, huh?
Well, and we were texting.
This is a real life shot, folks.
We were texting during this whole thing, and when we saw Apollo Crews, it's like, okay,
I was like, yeah,
our dude's about to get some SummerSlam shine.
He's on the show.
And something. Where's this going? And then, you got Baron Corbin giving him a haircut, and it's like, okay. And then it turned into a commercial. And then it was like, oh, okay. And then we had Alpha Academy make an appearance, and then Otis started shaving his stomach, and then it just kind of went off the rails from there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was absolutely foul. But, I mean, shout out to the Manscaped, I guess. They got what they wanted.
Yeah.
With Otis, taking the straps of his thing, and it looked like it was going to be just a cutaway.
Yeah.
And then he starts going after his stomach. So, maybe can we get Apollo Crews on not involved in this?
Hey, man, you got to sling some Manscaped. It is what it is. And by the way, and I say this every single time we do the Scrap House here, there is nobody that represents Wisconsin more than Otis. If you were to put Wisconsin in one human being, Otis is that guy. He's like a cross between Chris Farley and I don't know who else I would say, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, maybe or something. I don't know.
By the way, couple of good runs for Otis. Had the whole relationship, if you will, with Mandy Rose, and then this with Maxine Dupree. I mean, he's not on TV much, but when he is on TV, he's usually
Dude's living a pretty good life himself.
It's
I mean,
not bad. It's no Dominic
It ain't
Mysterio,
Dom, you know.
but
It ain't Dirty Dom, but you know, it's outstanding Otis.
I mean, Dirty Dom is just one of a kind.
He is married, isn't he? Too.
Just got married.
Hey,
Just got married.
way to set the precedent. And like, obviously, his wife is cool with this, but like, way to set the precedent of that marriage. Haven't even got to a full year yet, and you're sucking face with Liv Morgan.
Right?
Good for you.
Couple of different times. And
Good for
he got
you.
licked a couple weeks ago.
Good for you.
Crazy. Did you I don't know if you would have saw this during the it was on Twitter, but Buddy Matthews, who is with Rhea Ripley,
Is married to Rhea Ripley, yeah.
in real life.
They got married a few months ago.
Sent out a tweet during the match and said, "TK, can I help mommy real quick?" TK being Tony Khan. So
Yeah. So he's trying to get out?
so I don't know. It's interesting though. Like I feel like Tony's like, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
Yeah.
Like I'd rather you not bring attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Tony Khan, listen, man, if I'm Tony Khan right now, and, you know, I love the dude, but he's got some other fires to put out besides Buddy Matthews, I feel like, right now.
It's a fair point.
Obviously, with Britt Baker getting suspended.
It's a fair point.
Indefinitely with, I don't know, maybe one of the biggest women's matches coming up in a couple of weeks with Mercedes Moné. Apparently, some things were said about MJF. MJF went to the women's locker room to confront Britt Baker. There was a team meeting, and they voted that Britt Baker should take some time off. So I have no idea.
She just got back, by the way.
She just got back, and she just posted a picture on the beach saying that life is a beach. So,
and that's your AEW talk.
Take that for how you want. That's your AEW talk for the night,
and probably for next week too, because we'll probably still be talking
about
this.
And Nathan Dean, by the way, good point. Maybe that's why Shane and Tony met the other day. I thought it was interesting that we saw Stephanie McMahon in the crowd, not really tied to the company anymore, but still saw her sitting front row. Casey, was this the WWE's counter to Shane McMahon meeting with Tony Khan? Did they try to maybe show the more popular McMahon and Stephanie tonight?
Yeah, I think that was a we see you and we're going to show Steph, and the people, you know, the crowd reacted to it appropriately. And I think there was a little bit of that because really, you had no reason to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know Steph is there. You just don't have to bring her back out from the back and then, you know, show her sitting there for a second and then, you know, send her back. So, I think there was a little bit of a gut reaction there. But, hey, you do what you got to do, and sometimes the people in the front row make it on TV. So, shout out to them for that. Bayley, Nia Jax, I called it.
You did call it. I was surprised. I thought Bayley was going to win this one.
Here's the thing, and that match, particularly until Tiffy came out, I felt like there wasn't a crowd there.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. The second thing is Bayley, like, don't get me wrong, is like probably an all-time great. She's done a lot. She's
one of the four horsewomen.
Yeah, I mean, just great career, right?
Mm-hmm.
So underappreciated, though, I feel like. Like, she's good.
Yeah, see, here's the problem, I think, with Bayley. The storyline that got her the belt when it was Io Sky and everything, you know, and starting Damage Control, then they turned on her. Like, that was a long time to tell that story. And, yeah, you got the payoff at the end at WrestleMania. I could have cared less about this Nia Jax. I don't even know what the storyline was, Casey, with Nia Jax and Bayley.
Agreed.
And, like, this was the issue. Like, you put the belt on Bayley at WrestleMania, and then, like, you throw her in just whatever, and then you start this storyline with Nia Jax I didn't really understand, and you have her lose the belt. Like, with all and I love Bayley. I think Bayley's a great wrestler, but like the storyline did nothing for that title run.
We said it last week too. It was like, okay, this happened.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, I feel like the lead up wasn't great. I feel like there just wasn't a lot of emotion to tie people to it.
Literally, the only thing that I remember from this feud that actually like I gave a damn about was when Nia Jax called Bayley BBL Bayley.
Yes.
I thought that was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny. That was very meta, if you will, as the kids say.
How about that?
Yeah.
But,
and by the way, and also spanked her in the ring as well, which I think was a reference back to BBL Bayley.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my thinking on this. I think Bayley should go for a bit because, I feel like she's really good. I feel like she's done a lot. And the best way to miss someone is for them not to be there. So I feel like the best case scenario for Bayley right now is just get away for a little bit. You've done a lot.
Yeah.
And I just feel like at times, and I feel like in this, like again, it's in a 4-hour event outside. It's hard to be fired up the whole time if you're the crowd, right? I get that. And there are some moments, but I feel like Bayley's best suited to kind of go hang out for a bit, come back about the time things start popping up, come back in the Royal Rumble if you want. But
Yeah.
I just feel like it's one of those things because I don't, and we're going to get this, but I in no way, shape, or form need to see her have a rematch with Nia Jax.
No, that's probably going to happen because I don't know what you do next with Nia Jax. Like, I'm sure Bayley gets another shot. Yeah, I mean, Casey, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against Bayley either. I wasn't bought into this whole feud. And once again, and this is why I was kind of disappointed that Chelsea Green didn't get the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Here we go again.
And I'll keep on saying it, man, because I wouldn't mind seeing Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley. Like, I think that storyline could sell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care because now you know what's going to happen. It's going to be Nia Jax is going to be the champ for a while. And then, Tiffany is going to be the understudy. She'll be treated unfairly. She'll have enough eventually. And then she'll turn on Nia Jax. Like, it's as tale as old as time.
Correct.
I would have much rather have seen something where the lines of Bayley's still the champ, Tiffany Stratton comes in, challenges her for the championship, and beats Bayley straight up. Because, once again, like, Bayley's that name. Like, Tiffany Stratton is good enough where she doesn't need the briefcase. And I'll keep on saying it every single time we do a show here, Casey. She just is. And I think you missed an opportunity here to have Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley.
Hey, I'm always a fan of Tiffany Stratton. You texted, did you actually think there was a cash-in possible when Tiffy ran down the 16-mile ramp? Holy cow, dude! It's like they just, when Kevin Owens came out in the main event,
Yeah.
Sorry if you didn't see it, spoiler, Kevin Owens comes out, and you could see the look on his face like, dude, there's a turn?
Yeah,
I have to turn left?
Yeah. So
It was so far.
So it was kind of an awkward moment for Tiffany to come out and cash. So I was kind of confused of, okay, like, why are you coming out right now? I honestly thought she was going to cash it in. And then I honestly thought that when Nia Jax won and, like, she raised her hand, I thought she was going to take the briefcase and hit Nia Jax the back of the head.
So did I.
And then take the yeah.
That was the one thing I thought could happen.
And then obviously you have a pissed off Nia Jax. That feud goes on for a while. Perfect. I think that would have been better. Because once again, we're just going to have Tiffany now be the understudy, if you will, for probably months on end until she gets treated unfairly enough where she decides to do something about it. I don't need to see her in that role. I don't think she's made for that role. I think she's made to be a star, and I think she's made for the spotlight. And being in Nia Jax's shadow, I think, does nothing for her character.
Yeah, I agree. And I noticed Nathan Dean said Tiffany was eyeballing the title before they went to commercial.
Yeah.
That was real. That was good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that was a good selling part of
they
it.
could have easily did it right there, I thought, but
I just, I don't know. I was concerned after the last cash-in attempt that we would have had a whole pay-per-view for nothing, whole major Money in the Bank thing that really wouldn't have mattered if you had Tiffy cash in right there because I don't know.
Well,
to me it didn't feel right.
Well, this is going to be like the running thing now too. You realize this, right? Like she's going to try to cash in like the Money in the Bank briefcase like 5 or 6 more times and keep getting denied. Like dumb things are going to happen. I think that's going to kind of be the gimmick going forward until she finally does cash it in. But then once again, like, will she cash it in against Nia? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it goes back to what you said, that it's just going to play out for a couple of months, and eventually she will cash in on Nia. Mike Mitchell said, Nia is always boring on camera. She doesn't interest me. Plus, I feel she's hurt too many people in the ring to be the champ.
Yeah, dude, Mike, I'm with you, man. And it's not like even like I dislike her because she's a heel and like she's a good heel because I dislike her.
She's a good heel.
I mean, she's an okay heel, but like it's not like I dislike her because she's a heel. I just dislike her because it's kind of the same thing in the ring every single time.
Well,
and the charisma, it's kind of whatever, man.
I think, there's part of that. And I also think she's just unlikable.
Yeah.
So in a way, like, if you hate it and you're still watching, you're still watching.
Well,
you know
for sure.
I mean?
And here's the ironic part of Nia Jax. I don't think there's a Becky Lynch if you don't have Nia Jax. Because Becky Lynch's character completely changed, and everybody rallied around her when Nia Jax broke her nose. And when she broke her nose, it was going into Survivor Series, and Becky Lynch with that iconic shot standing in the crowd. Like, I get we had a Nia Jax. Yeah, that was kind of a botch where she broke Becky Lynch's nose, but that was the best thing to happen to Becky Lynch in her entire career.
Yeah.
And she is who she is today because of it. So I guess shout out to Nia Jax for that.
Speaking of Becky Lynch, we may need you to come back at a certain point. Becky Lynch, please.
Please.
You might need you on speed dial.
We hope that motherhood's going great, but yeah, we kind of need you back.
We could potentially need you back. Yeah. After that would be CM Punk, Drew McIntyre.
Seth Rollins, special referee. Yep.
Austin, I wanted it to be good.
I wanted it to be great.
I don't think it was either.
It was there was a lot going, especially because so much hype for this match. Like this, honestly,
I thought it was gonna be the best match of the night.
When we did our preview show, we kind of both called this could be the best match of the night because we had no idea how this could turn out. There were so many ways that you could go with this, and especially with Seth Rollins, the guest referee, like that was booked perfectly. Like there was so much intrigue behind it, but it didn't deliver that like I expected it to.
No. I thought Seth was the best part of the match.
Yeah, I agree.
Not counting and pretending like he was like, I just didn't want to get on the ground.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was the part of it. I mean, the thing that still doesn't get lost on me is at certain times, and not the last couple of weeks where he's been out there cutting promos, but Royal Rumble and then tonight, it does still hit me in a way that I can't believe CM Punk is actually out there and it's really him.
Isn't it wild? And
yes.
Keep in mind, the dude hasn't wrestled in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a long time since CM Punk wrestled in the ring.
So just the fact that he's out there, I'm like, all right, this is cool because I never thought CM Punk was going to be in WWE again. But I think the reality of it was I don't think he looked great in the ring tonight.
See, I get you're being a little harsh on him. I didn't think CM Punk looked that bad. I mean, was it his best? Probably not. But once again, I think a lot of it was just kind of wrapped up with the choppiness of the story. Yeah. You know, like with the bracelet a couple times.
The bracelet, dude, I can't
take
the bracelet.
It was, Casey, don't be a hater now. Come on, man. He's got his dog Larry on there. He's got AJ on there.
Dude, I love dogs and my wife as much. I've worn these two bracelets and I usually wear a watch.
Yeah.
Dude, if they snap, it's okay. And neither of their names are on it. Like, dude, I can't take, like, I thought we'd get to a point where we move on from the bracelet. We're still on it.
Oh, no, man. I mean, I have a bracelet for my son I'm wearing all the time. It is what it is, man. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, here's what I hope, and we talked about this, I think, after the last pay-per-view. I hope Larry the Dog actually gets involved somehow. Like, I hope that the feud with Drew McIntyre, and if Seth Rollins gets involved as well, eventually leads to somebody breaking into CM Punk's house, stealing Larry the Dog, and holding it ransom. And like that's like your WrestleMania match. It's like the battle for Larry.
I'm there.
That I'll go watch that in person if I have to. Yeah,
my thing is you can't lose the match 3 times over the damn bracelet.
No, I know
3 different times in the match,
and essentially he beat himself, right?
Because he wanted the damn bracelet.
Sure, Casey. To me, and like once again, it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Correct. It didn't reach expectations. And I get what they're trying to do here, though. They're trying to plant seeds because, you know, they wanted to have CM Punk, Seth Rollins last year at WrestleMania for WrestleMania 40 in Philly. Like, that was supposed to be the original plan, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. And then CM Punk gets hurt. They have to call an audible. So they're still trying to plant those seeds for Seth Rollins and CM Punk probably at next WrestleMania then. All right, great. I just wish we could have looked past SummerSlam and later on to plant those seeds, but you used SummerSlam as the opportunity to.
Yeah.
You know, just like you used the Money in the Bank briefcase to try to further along that storyline, but it didn't work because you kind of botched that ending. I just felt like this wasn't botched per se, but it maybe slowed things down a little bit.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't botched, but also, dude, I'm like, to what you just said, this has now been really 4 straight pay-per-views, if you will.
Yeah.
We're still doing this, and we're still like.
Listen, I'm down for still doing it, Casey, but then you have to like pump the gas.
Though.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like then, like let's. It's a bracelet with Larry the Dog and AJ on it. Well, then let's get AJ involved somehow.
Right.
Like Drew says something about AJ. AJ comes out. You know, like you eventually have to move on the storyline. Like right now, it just seems a little stagnant to me.
Yeah, if it was good,
it can't just be about a bracelet.
But we're 4 freaking months in.
Yeah.
We're going to another one because Drew still got the damn bracelet. Punk's not giving up on the bracelet.
Yeah.
So.
See, that's the thing. I agree with you. Like, I get the bracelet, but I don't get the bracelet just being a piece of jewelry. I get what it represents. And my hope is that we'll see AJ come out in some way, in some facet, and do something. If not, and it's just a like if this is just seriously about a bracelet and that's it, and we don't see AJ or Larry the Dog, well then yeah, it's been kind of a waste of time because we spent so much time on this. But if we bring AJ and Larry in the mix, okay, then maybe now we're cooking with gas a little bit. Hopefully. Because
something's got to happen, and we're in for the long haul here.
Boy, who you telling, Casey?
What happens to Seth Rollins now?
I mean, once again, they're planting the seeds for Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I mean, are we just going to see just like a triple threat for like the next?
We can't have a 3-man feud for months.
Well, I mean, that's what it seems like. Because what do you do now? You think, okay, well, you think Drew McIntyre and CM Punk's done? No. You think Seth Rollins and CM Punk is done? Obviously not.
Somebody's got to go after Gunther.
I don't think it's going to be any of those three. Unless it's Drew. Unless Drew is like, all right, I beat you, Punk, leave me alone. And now Punk focuses attention more to Seth Rollins. That could be the possibility. And then Drew goes to Gunther. But then who's playing the face in that match? Nobody. You're not going to turn Drew face now. He's way too committed to being a heel. I don't know.
Would Logan Paul, Seth Rollins be fun?
Haven't we seen that though or not? Did they do that already?
Maybe.
Might have had like an altercation.
Do it again.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it, but
I think the matches could be fun.
The matches would be really fun. Oh yeah, dude, two guys who can do everything, who can work literally any form of wrestling. Yeah, they'd be fun. But you're getting CM Punk, Seth Rollins for sure, and maybe Drew McIntyre will still find his way in that match.
All right, just
hate to burst your bubble.
Give me a real life bracelet. Give me the real dog or the real wife.
Hate to burst your bubble. This next match, I'm gonna be honest, was my surprise of the night.
Good,
because I had
in a good way.
In a great way,
okay.
Yeah. Because this one, the build up was fine. I was surprised actually in terms of Damian Priest how further along he's come, like in terms of the character development. But this to me was a showcase of power wrestling. Mm-hmm. We broke down last Wednesday on the Scrap House. We talked about Suzuki versus Chris Jericho and how it was just kind of like a slap fest the whole time where guys just, they slapped each other for like 20 minutes straight, just nonstop.
Yep.
I liked this match, though, and this is the genius of Gunther. Gunther likes to do the chops and everything as well, but he does it in a way where it's still a fight. It's not like, okay, I'm going to chop you. Okay, take a couple seconds. Now you chop me. Like, you almost lose, like, the realness of it in a way because it's like, okay, you take your turn. Then Gunther, like, there's no, I take a turn. Like, I'm going to try to chop your damn chest off, and then you can get some off on me as well. Mm-hmm. And, like, that's what I enjoy about it. And when it comes to power wrestling, there's nobody better than Gunther right now in all of wrestling.
Yeah, dude, I thought it was fantastic. I want to read this because I think it's funny. Before we go back to that, but in the CM Punk debacle, Squirrel says, I lost it. Said I feel like I was watching a match over friendship bracelet. It should have been about Swifties. #Swiftie husband. So Squirrel, sorry about it. So anyway. Nice. On the, I'm with you. I thought Damian Priest, Gunther was fantastic. I thought you mentioned it about Priest. I feel like the reason that we feel like he's come all this way is because of how good Gunther is at being bad.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like, don't get me wrong. Damian Priest played the role and was good and developed it, I think. But I think just Gunther was incredibly bad or incredibly good at being bad. So I think that helped. The match itself, like the best way I can describe it, how I felt was I felt like they were legitimately fighting each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you were supposed to feel like with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I never felt that way. Mm-hmm. I felt like those two dudes were fighting each other.
And this was really the first time that I can remember. Like, I know Gunther had the whole Sheamus thing for a while, but this was the first time where we kind of saw Gunther get his ass kicked. Mm-hmm. I mean, his chest was bleeding for crying out loud, right? And like we haven't really seen that from Gunther. So once again, props to Damian Priest because, dude, I don't want to stand there with Gunther and go chop for chop, and take on some of that brunt. And Damian Priest went toe-to-toe with him. And to me, one of the best matches he's had in a long time. I think he's elevated himself by far. And I was at one point going to say if he leaves the Judgment Day, I mean, have fun on the mid-card or NXT again. Mm-hmm. But after this match, I'm convinced that Damian Priest can hold his own now and be a star.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too. But it will be interesting to see what happens when he's feuding with somebody that's not Gunther. Yeah. Now, if he's feuding with Dom, And Finn, that'll be intriguing because I think Finn Balor's very good. Dom is Dom. You'll always be in good light with the WWE Universe if you're beefing with Dom. But it'll be interesting to see that part of it. And I think you do, as you said, I think there's a lot of respect gained for basically standing in the gap with Gunther. Like, you were getting demolished at a time.
So, yeah. No, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, it showcased Damian Priest. And this is the beauty of Gunther. And this is getting that Gunther bump. Anybody that Gunther goes against, when it's all said and done, whether you win or you lose,
you'll be loved.
You're being a better man for having gone through it. Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, what better way for Damian Priest to keep cementing his legacy as a true professional? Now he's going against, it's gonna be Finn Balor. I mean, that's the next logical step in Damian Priest's storyline, and I think it's gonna be a great one because Finn Balor is a guy too who, no matter who he wrestles against, he always brings out the best in that person. So I think whenever it's gonna be, whether it's going to be in Berlin, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense a little bit. Like Balor, I believe, is from Ireland. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how close Ireland is to Germany, but, it's
closer than America.
It's that European connection. So that would make sense for the battle at Berlin. In a couple weeks, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and that match will definitely be a banger as well.
This is the only unfortunate part about it. I mean, this is what you kind of felt like was going to happen. Finn Balor was going to get involved.
Yeah.
They unfortunately were on this camera shot.
Yeah.
And Priest has Gunther on the ground, and let's do a couple of extra rolls to get over.
Yeah. There's a little extra, like, let me roll over here and make sure we get the shot.
And Finn, of course, wasn't in the shot at this point. I'm like, damn, that's unfortunate. Just unlucky part of that. But again, that is the moment that if it wasn't when Dom was tonguing with Liv Morgan, this was the moment that the Judgment Day, as we know it, is no more. But overall, I really like the match. A lot of respect for both of those guys. I love Finn Balor. I've said it a couple of times. He's really good. He needs to be on television more. I think this helps that, so that's a win for me. And I think comfortably you could tell me that Gunther was going to be the champion for the next, 8 years, and I'd be like, all right.
No, I mean, keep in mind, like, this heavyweight championship that he holds now is very young still. It's in its infancy, and this is the type of guy that you want holding the belt for years and years to come, to add it, to give it more legitimacy. Like, you couldn't have put a young belt on a better guy than Gunther. Mm-hmm. So this belt will now be legitimate. He should hold it for a long time. And then when it's all said and done and a worthy challenger comes around to, take that belt away from him, it's going to mean a lot more than the day that it meant when he took it off of Damian Priest.
Fully agree. I just wonder who that person is because I don't think they've shown themselves yet.
Well, hey, it's going to be a long.
Yes.
It might be Joe Hendry as far as we know. If he comes up from NXT one day.
Joe Hendry, John
I believe
Cena,
in Joe Hendry, man. Yeah,
last title for John Cena.
That could be interesting. I mean, is that I don't know. I don't know if that's like the last. Well, it doesn't be the last opponent, but that's one of the last opponents that
the
you
last
want to talk
championship
about
potentially.
Yeah, be interesting.
Champion versus champion with Braun Breaker.
For sure. I am
can't
surprised
do that anytime
though.
soon. That's
a
long time.
But I am a little surprised though, Casey, because I thought the play was going to be, I thought Damian Priest was going to lose, but I thought Gunther eventually would be challenging Cody Rhodes. Like, I thought that would be kind of the next matchup in the Cody Rhodes saga, but not going to happen now. Gunther has his own saga ahead of him, and we'll see what happens next with Cody Rhodes.
And it sounds like Cody Rhodes is going to be a little bit busy. Before the main event, we got the, I believe, fourth appearance of Jelly Roll.
Next.
So that was pretty dope.
So when we were joking about this on Wednesday, and we talked about Mr. Cleveland and performances, and I said, was Jelly Roll going to show up? I didn't actually know that Jelly Roll was going to legitimately show up in Cleveland. And when I say show up like 5 times.
Dude, he can sing, can he not? Don't even sit here and tell me he can't sing.
Sure, man. Yeah. It's all good.
Dude, it was incredible.
It's all it's all right.
Anytime you get
it's all right.
I won't say the Miz. Anytime you get R-Truth on television, I'm a fan. And then here comes Jelly. It took him a minute to get in the ring, but he got in there.
Yeah.
And he started hitting people with a chair.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not going to lie, though. Before Jelly came in I was outside in the parking lot. And before Jelly showed up on TV, I was like, dude, I love me some R-Truth. But it's like 10:20.
No,
we got
sure.
a whole at least half-hour main event. Can you get off the screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then here came Jelly. I was like, all right, let's play this out.
I'm like, goodbye, Circadian Rhythm. It's going to be a rough morning tomorrow, but it's all good, man, because Jelly Roll had to get his choke slam. Oh, and I'm sorry, a 5-knuckle shuffle just for good measure.
Yeah.
Did not see that happening.
Gosh, man, Jelly Roll, that guy can do no wrong, huh?
Nah, I mean, it
Just
is what
the
it
goat.
is. Yeah, let's take it easy on that, though.
The absolute goat. The people of Cleveland love to see him.
Definitely don't play at Rockville again, though, right? Because you're more country music than rock music. But
You can play wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
WWE event, Rockville.
Yep.
Probably a church.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's get Jelly Roll in there. Sounds good.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, main event.
Here we go.
So, first off, I didn't expect to cry tonight, but when Cody came out with his dog, I lost it. I don't know what to tell you.
It's the dog that did it for you, huh?
Yeah, I'm big dog. Big dog
Wasn't Cody Rhodes finishing his dad's story for, I don't know, it took like 30 years to get there? It's the fact that he had Pharaoh with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
think it's Pharaoh.
Yes, Pharaoh. When they so Solo gets in the ring, I'm like, all right, dope. I'm ready for like the classic Cody entrance. I'm like, I might sing a little bit.
Adrenaline.
And then they cut to the bus. I'm like, dude, it is
What are we doing?
10,
What are we doing?
30.
I know.
Get in the ring.
It's a long walk from that bus for that ramp. Long walk.
And then they cut to the dog. I'm like, dude, go ahead. Do it. It's
your
fine.
time.
Even if the dog has to go to the bathroom, I'm cool.
What about when they go, hey, this is Cody Rhodes' best friend? Do you think Brandy heard that and was just like,
Brandy's like, what are we talking about?
I mean, I'm here too. But
Right
yeah,
here.
Yeah,
You know, she's probably on the bus. But then as he's walking with the dog,
Who else do we see?
surprise appearance,
Who else do
Arn
we
Anderson.
see? Fresh from AEW.
Interesting, huh?
A little interesting, yeah. I mean, it leads to the fact of going forward now with Cody Rhodes. I'm not sure if he's still going to be the bloodline drama or not that Roman Reigns is back, spoiler alert. But I wonder now if we talk more about the Nightmare Family making an appearance once again. You know, if you bring back Cody, you showed Pharaoh, you're going to have Arn Anderson. I wonder if Dustin Rhodes then makes an appearance eventually. I'm not sure how much longer Dustin Rhodes has on the AEW contract. But one would think that when that contract is up, he's making a beeline straight towards WWE.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Nathan, I'm going to come back to your question because I think it's interesting, but we'll get to that point. So that happens, and Arn Anderson hits him with, you got some friends coming for you. So in my head, I'm like, cool, it's probably Kenny Omega. And then it was the same dudes that have been getting destroyed for weeks.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get there. Cody eventually makes it to the ring, and they do a little dance. Solo in the ring.
So here's the thing.
Gotten better.
No, so and this was important, I thought. And we talked about this on the Scrap House this past Wednesday, how we both felt like Solo's getting better, right? And when you add Jacob Fatu, it makes you a little more legitimate when that dude's your muscle. But I thought they did a great job here in terms of a bloodline rules match. I thought it was just going to be, okay, well, they're going to get to the ring, and here comes, all the enforcers and everything, the Tonga brothers essentially, and it's just going to be a crap show when the bell hits. And that wasn't at all. They told a little story here, and the story that they told was the fact that Solo Sikoa is getting wiser, and he's getting better, because I think he countered 3 of Cody's go-to moves that no one's really countered before like he did. And it showed that, okay, this dude's learning, this dude's getting better, he's not so green anymore. I thought it was a great job of showcasing of Solo Sikoa is getting better, and you better start taking him more seriously. And that's what we learned from this match. It could have been so easy to start to have everybody come in the ring in 2 or 3 minutes, but this match probably went on for at least 15 minutes, from in the ring to outside the ring, where it was just Solo Sikoa and Cody Rhodes. I thought that was a great decision by creative to say, we got to let Solo show his skill set a little bit so people can take him more seriously.
Yeah, and Scroll said they did good at actually letting it breathe. I agree. It went on for just about the right amount of time, and then obviously the boys showed up. You get your classic
Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa make an appearance, obviously, and then
Cody
they do their
beat
thing.
Up.
Yep.
Kevin Owens looks at the ramp and says, "Dude, I think I'm going back in." Decides
Give me the golf cart.
Decides to run for it anyway. Here comes Randy Orton giving it a similar look. Hey, I think I'm going to call it. He goes out there. They do their thing. They disappear in the crowd, never to be seen again. No development of a potential Randy Orton story. I thought maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, just you couldn't have the Randy Orton story if Roman Reigns is going to come back though tonight.
Right, agreed.
Put it on ice and save it for later.
And then things really start to get interesting, real world and in the story, because Jacob Fatu comes out, does
what Jacob Fatu does, which is defy the physics of gravity. There's a guy that big should not be able to move like that. I say it every single time we watch him wrestle.
The dude is a linebacker jumping off the top rope, just demolishing people, flipping. I mean, it's unbelievably impressive. There's really no way about it. And then decides that he's going to free fly over to Cody on a table.
Yeah.
Does that, breaks the table, might not be the only thing that's broken.
Yeah, so unless we want to give him the Daniel Day-Lewis Award of selling, I'm pretty sure that he messed himself up pretty badly there, Jacob Fatu. And, if you watch the replay a couple of times, it's kind of hard to tell what exactly happened, but you can assume that that knee hit the edge of the table. And I don't know if it was a knee, like he tore something, or if he broke something. But the reaction kind of leads you to believe that it was a little more than selling. Like this dude was actually hurt. And my argument there of why he was actually hurt is because I just watched this guy on Friday night take Johnny Gargano's finisher and just eat it for breakfast and stand up in 2 seconds. So you can't go from that, where you eat people's finishers, stand back up like nothing happened, and then go from a spot where you dive off the top rope onto a table and you're out the rest of the match. Just doesn't make sense. So I think Jacob Fatu is actually hurt, and that could not be any worse for this storyline, the Bloodline, because that to me is what bought me into Solo Sikoa in the first place. Like, Solo was doing fine, but when the Wolf came, Casey, that added another element to the Bloodline where it's like, holy crap, who is this dude? And oh, okay, this guy's actually legit, and he's the enforcer, and now the Bloodline needs to be taken more seriously.
Yeah.
If this guy's out for an extended period of time, you're going to lose that legitimacy. Yeah,
you're in trouble. That would be a worst-case scenario, and I think some things to believe that he is hurt is you never, ever, until the last second, and he still was not standing, you had never saw him again. And usually they'll give you a quick, he's still dead over there. You didn't get that because he was actually might have been hurt.
Yeah.
There was you never saw him. You never heard from him. And
well, you saw him at the end.
At the end, and he was still on the ground.
With Solo, but he's still on the ground when Cody was.
He kind of got up a little bit, but there was nothing.
No, he was
nothing to believe that
he was
okay.
T-bowing basically. He was doing that.
T-bowing,
he was T-bowing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might have been on purpose that Solo was in front of his knee area.
Correct. Yeah.
So and this whole thing is,
and this is the crappy thing too, Casey. It's the fact that I believe there was going to be a spot too with Roman Reigns and the Wolf. Because what a better way, and think about this, Casey. Think about how long we've been waiting to see Roman Reigns. Think about all the chants of Roman Reigns in the crowds and everything. We want Roman, and that night finally delivered. And I felt like it fell a little flat because part of that delivery, I feel like, involved the Wolf, Jacob Fatu, going after Roman Reigns maybe spearing him, Superman punching, and showing just how strong the OG Tribal Chief is. And we didn't get that moment, and it sucks because it was a lot of build up to that moment, and I think it was all squandered on a spot involving a top rope and a table.
I agree. I think there were two different things that to me kind of said that. One, obviously he doesn't get up, and the second was I thought it was interesting after they get Cody back in the ring. I forget what Solo hit him with, but at this point, Cody's dead.
Yeah.
And when he kicked out, I said to you in here, I was like, I don't think that was supposed to be a kick out.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm wondering what happened there. My guess here would be Jacob was supposed to get up. There was supposed to be more to that in the ring. Like he presents him to Solo to pin him.
Yeah.
And the music hits then for Roman. That's kind of
where
I
was. That makes sense.
And then as Cody kicks out, and then again, it's not instant. Like there's a little bit of a dance that kind of happens with Solo, and it was like, okay, you just hit Cody with everything you got. He kicked out. What are you doing? And it didn't really feel like there was a good thing there. And then you said when it happened, you're like, why now?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think there was supposed to be something else there. But then I think when that didn't happen, they didn't bring him out the first time. What are you going to do? Not do it?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you got how's the match ending if you don't do it? You had to do it.
Yeah. No, you had to do it.
But it was a random time. I agree with you.
It was random time, and I think Jacob Fatu getting hurt kind of messed up everything. Here's the wild thing about what's happening now. Almost a year ago, I believe, if my memory serves me right, to the day, Paul Heyman was asked how much more can they actually extend this Bloodline storyline before it gets stale. And Paul Heyman laughed and said, we're in the bottom of the third inning right now. That was a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't wrong.
True.
Because now, and this is what I believe is going to happen. I believe you set this up for Survivor Series now. I don't think Cody's in this picture. I don't think Roman Reigns right now is focused on Cody, even though he's the champion.
Agreed.
I think the big storyline now is who the tribal chief is. And I think we're talking about family. So if we're doing that, you're going to have the old school bloodline versus the new school bloodline. And, you know, we can bring back Jey Uso. We can bring back Sami Zayn. You know, you can bring back everybody that was involved, the original, you know, bloodline versus the new bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Jacob Fatu didn't, you know, just break every single. I mean, once again, that's huge. Like,
yeah, it's the biggest part.
And we'll be, you know, listening closely to see how hurt he really is. But that's the storyline now. It's the old school versus the new school.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Roman Reigns and just how it finishes, if you didn't see it, destroys Solo, Cody, Crossroads. Yeah. It's over. Cody's the champ. He retains, thank goodness. And Roman, in the 16-mile-long walkway, gets about 8 miles in and just stares back at Cody, hold up Roman's championship.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm not done with Roman Reigns, but just that was the end of what I thought was overall a really good show. And I think they, for the most part, did a really good job.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting to see what they do from here. Back to Roman. One, loved the shirt.
Yep.
Good merch.
OG.
Good decision. I saw somebody in the chat saying that.
The original, what was the original
tribal chief.
Yeah.
So the crowd went absolutely nuts.
Yep.
Which was sick.
Yep.
And Nathan Dean said this a couple minutes ago. My question is, do you think the WWE has to have Roman to keep things interesting? He was gone for only 4 months, and he already had to come back. Solo Sikoa couldn't carry the plot change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that he couldn't carry the plot change, but it was kind of the same thing week in and week out, right? It was going after Cody Rhodes' friends, making them suffer, and make Cody watch. Like, that seemed like 3 or 4 weeks of just television. So you're not wrong there, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, they were hurting for the storyline, so Roman had to come back. I think Roman is the storyline. Like, when you talk about the bloodline, you talk about the OG tribal chief, and that is Roman Reigns. So to kind of bring it full circle, yeah, it was missing Roman Reigns, but it wasn't because it wasn't Solo Sikoa's fault. I just think, like, you need Roman Reigns back. So, once again, we're going to get old school versus new school now, I think, whether it's Survivor Series or down the line, and that should be entertaining. But we'll see with Jacob Fatu what's going to happen. And now I guess the biggest question is what happens with Cody. Do you –
Yeah.
I mean, I can see now is the time to kind of do the Randy Orton thing. You know, Randy turns on Cody. You know, Randy essentially kind of took Cody underneath his wing a little bit. Randy gets sick and tired of what Cody's accomplished, gets all the spotlight. Randy, being the Viper that he is, turns on Cody, maybe a punt or something like that. And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I agree that they should go the direction that we all think with the bloodline, but in theory, at some point, Roman is going to get that rematch with Cody. And maybe sooner rather than later, if you want to drag out the bloodline thing, maybe not. Who's to say? But you do have that in terms of if that's not where you go with Cody. Randy Orton's obviously an option. Logan Paul.
Logan Paul would be entertaining. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously, Cody's going to beat him. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, it would kind of be a one-off. It wouldn't be like a long-lasting feud, but just for to fill time for a couple months, I could see Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes.
And maybe you do that to then drag out the Randy Orton, because Randy Orton, I think, is the only one that you really have that's months of staying power, unless Roman decides he wants to stay.
Here's what I'm going to ask you, Casey. Who's going to wrestle Cody Rhodes first? The Rock or Roman Reigns?
I think Roman.
I don't know. I just think of how The Rock went out, said he'll be back. Mama Rhodes.
Yeah.
With the bell. Mama Rhodes. Like, I don't know.
I hear you, but I think it would be, and again, I think if Jacob Fatu is actually injured is a big part of this, but Roman Reigns was the champion for years.
Mm-hmm.
To come back and be like,
Yeah, but see now,
I'm good.
No, but now it's not about the championship. Like now it's about Solo Sikoa, and I think this could carry on for a while. Like, because you're gonna have old school versus new school, then you're gonna have Solo versus Roman for who the real tribal chief is. If he's not too banged up, you could have Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns. Like this is gonna drag on for a while.
So then my answer to your question would be my response to your question would be if the answer is The Rock is the next person to wrestle Cody Rhodes between the two, then Cody Rhodes better not be the champion when it happens.
It's gonna have to be. It's gonna be at WrestleMania.
I kind of hate that.
Well, that's what's gonna, because you're not gonna bring The Rock back for like
I agree. 100%.
Elimination Chamber.
No, I'm with
like
Royal Rumble. I know. I'm with you.
Yeah,
there.
no, it's gonna have to be WrestleMania, or nothing.
Then make it the main event of night one because then what that does is it does the same thing you just did for 3 years, and you're doubling up a main event again that's going to end the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because barring an unbelievable turn of events, The Rock is not going to be the WWE champion in 2025.
Yeah. The only other thing, correct. And to me, it almost seems a little cliche to go with The Rock and Cody Rhodes. Do you want what I envision for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania? Please. Honestly, go ahead and bookmark this.
Okay.
I think you start to see him teaming up with John Cena, and then eventually, I've said this many times, I think I like face Cody. Heel Cody's even better. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see Cody Rhodes turn on John Cena, and John Cena's last match will be Cena versus Cody Rhodes for the belt, and I think Cody Rhodes is going to put him away.
Huh. It's interesting.
Yeah. As a heel, obviously.
Yeah. As we sit here on the 4th of August, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I want Cody to be the champion every second of every day.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you get to that point now. If it's not Roman. Like he's got to do something for the next 6 months.
No, I know,
but has it he's got to wrestle.
No, of course, and he'll wrestle, but it'll, like I said, man, like I don't think it's gonna be tribal chief business. Like I don't think it's gonna be bloodline business. I think it's gonna be a Logan Paul or just kind of a couple one-offs, and then eventually they'll build the story up to leading to WrestleMania, where it is The Rock, where it is Randy Orton, or if you want to get super creative and make Cody a heel, then go against John Cena. But
do you bring Damian Priest over to that show?
Nah, I mean, I like Damian Priest a lot, but to go against Cody Rhodes, I don't think you have the star power for that right now.
Drew McIntyre. I'm just kind of thinking about
I know, man. We're brainstorming. Maybe Drew McIntyre, but once again, like, how long is that going to last?
I get it.
You know, Joe Hendry,
CM Punk,
Joe Hendry.
I mean, people love him.
Joe Hendry. CM Punk makes a lot of sense, but CM Punk's going to be tied up with Seth Rollins.
He's got to get his damn bracelet back.
He's going to be tied up for Seth Rollins for a while, unfortunately, my friend. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of names right now.
Apollo Crews
and
Otis.
and I mean, do you go Uncle Howdy?
Here's the thing. I kind of forget that they exist.
Yeah, well, they're like the biggest stable in WWE right now, besides the Bloodline, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be dope. It'd be cool. But the thing is, there's still it's long-term storytelling because there's so much that you don't know still. Because why? I know you don't know the answer, but why would they go after Cody? Because it feels like Cody's a good dude.
Yeah, and
it feels like they're going after Gable because he's a bad dude.
Correct.
Now, does Chad Gable enter this fray with Cody?
Yeah, I don't know about that
For
either.
For a short period? He's pretty good, dude.
No, Chad Gable's great, but and plus you have the brothers, the Creed brothers. So you
forget about it.
I don't know. I don't know if what I can see happening realistically is if you want to keep this bloodline feud going somehow with Cody, and like I don't know where he fits in this. Like I don't know if he's on Team Roman. I don't know if he's not going to be obviously on Team Solo Sikoa, so he's kind of by himself. Like I think he eventually gets his own family. I think he gets the Nightmare family. I think he brings Dustin. He's going to have Arn. He's going to have Brandy. Maybe like Ricky Starks comes over from AEW, and that's a good way to showcase him right away and kind of take it to Tony Khan a little bit. I think Cody Rhodes maybe starts his own family, and then eventually maybe that family goes heel. And then you can start doing stuff with the Wyatts if you truly want, even though I don't think you're going to do that. But like you can start taking on the bloodline yourself. There's other things you can do with that.
Yeah. I agree. It'll be interesting. I will say though, in terms of the new and the old bloodline, dude, Cody's been beat up for months now. Mm-hmm. So in theory, it's not gonna. I don't think they should do this. But if Roman Reigns went to him with arms extended, I could see Cody jumping in on that. I don't think it'd be the right decision, but I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been beating the heck out of him.
No, they've been beating the heck out of him for sure. But he's got a long run ahead of him, Casey, because you're gonna have the face Cody run for a while, and then he's gonna have the heel Cody run, which might even be longer. So this dude's gonna go nowhere, pending, knock on wood, an injury or anything. But he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's gonna be a long reign for Cody Rhodes. I don't even know the opponent that's gonna end up taking that belt away. No one's really presented themselves yet. But yeah, I mean it's gonna be a long road for Cody.
Is that I was thinking about this earlier. Is that a problem that the two prestigious titles, and I like I like both guys have it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it feels like either side, there's nobody worthy of it. I feel this way about the AEW title as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad problem to have, Casey, because then when you have somebody worthy, then that justifies them taking the belt off said person. And we don't want to see the belt leave, obviously, Gunther. You don't want to see the belt leave Cody quite yet either. It just seems like he just got it. So I get what you're saying, but see, it's almost like is the glass half full or half empty. I consider it half full, where it's like, all right, great. Now you're going to have wrestlers start working harder, make a name for themselves, and somebody will eventually emerge.
Yeah. I hope you're right.
Yeah, me too.
I hope it's not the alternative and things get stale.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Because you got a few championships I don't think are moving anytime soon.
Correct.
So
you're not wrong.
I guess we'll find out.
Any more things in the comments before we head out of
here? Squirrel said, where is it? Maybe a tribal chief match, Rock versus Roman, how it was always planned to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen eventually. You have to do that. It's just, where do you fit it in? Do you go Rock Cody first, Rock Roman? Yeah, I mean, The Rock's coming back. He has to, especially if you go to Netflix. There's a lot of money to be had there. So you'll see The Rock again.
And by the way, already shifting towards Netflix. I mean, you had a lot of...
Oh, I'm sorry, because everyone's making out with each other and getting all sexual on the USA Network.
Well, there's that. Yeah. But also, I mean, you had a lot of... I mean, you had the camera in McIntyre's face while he was cussing out CM Punk.
Oh, by the way, can I say one thing, too, about the cussing? Michael Cole was on one tonight.
He was.
And it was hilarious. Like, that son of a... Like, he must have said...
And he encouraged McAfee to cuss.
Oh, yeah. It was fantastic.
You have Dom flicking off the crowd. Like,
that's true.
They're definitely going in that direction.
They're going Netflix, man.
It will be interesting. And you mentioned Michael Cole. I wanted to get this in. Going to SmackDown.
Yeah.
In what, 4 weeks, 5 weeks?
Well, and then they're bringing the guy from ESPN over. I can't remember the dude's name now. Joe Tessitore.
Suck. Like...
Suck.
I hate it.
Nice, Casey. I don't know.
I don't like it, dude.
I'm not going to judge till I hear it, Casey.
I am.
But I know you are, and I know why you are, and I agree with you because he's like way too clean cut, I feel like, for this. Like way too clean cut.
Yes.
But we'll see. We'll see how it sounds. But it could take a while to get used to.
Also, I've gotten to the point where I really like Corey Graves doing the main heavy lifting.
People want to hate on Corey Graves. I like Corey Graves as well.
I like him.
Yeah, I think the dude's got skills.
I didn't like him, but he's grown on me. I like both.
He's a smart ass, and I like him, yeah.
I like both teams that they have right now because I like McAfee. It works with Cole.
And I like Michael Cole with anybody. I think like Michael Cole's the GOAT right now as far as I'm concerned.
So I don't know what happens from like, does that mean this may be out there, I don't know. Does SmackDown become a 3-man team? Because does Graves stay and then Bad News Barrett stays? Because I like him too.
Yeah.
McAfee stays with Tessitore, which I could kind of understand. They might actually flow together. I don't want them to get rid of Barrett, though.
No. Okay, so first of all, I think Cole and McAfee are the best.
Agreed.
Because they actually, like, you can tell, like, it's like when you do a show. You can tell, like, we're having fun with it. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not just putting on a facade, like, oh, we got to work together again. Like, no, we actually enjoy what we do together. And, like, you get the same vibe from Cole and McAfee. We'll see with Tessitore, once again, the dude's super clean cut, so I'm not sure that's going to come across to wrestling fans, a guy who's coming from other sports in the sporting world. We'll see, man. I'm not to say for myself to judge it first. Yeah. But I'll let you take the brunt of it and just judge away.
Yeah, I hate it, bro.
Yeah, you hate it.
I'm not a fan of it at all. I'm actually hoping they change their minds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we will see. But, yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Apologies to Prime for getting dumped out by Casey.
Dude, I had to pour one out for my United States champion.
I had to pour one out. I pray that you clip that because that was
Dude, it's bad.
That was that. Dude, you literally poured an entire bottle of Prime all over the desk. I can't believe you did that.
Dude, I thought it would kind of stay in one spot.
Yeah. By the way, one more comment of the night coming from Squirrel. By the time Raw goes to Netflix, I think Graves and McAfee are teamed up. Maybe too soon, but they paired well tonight. They did, man. I just like kind of like the buddy cop vibe that I get from Michael Cole and McAfee. Like it's perfect because like you have Cole trying to be the professional and McAfee always kind of keeping on his toes a little bit. That's how I feel like with me and Brent Martineau all the time. I always keep Brent on his toes, but we'll see what happens with that once they go to Netflix. It will be exciting because then you can actually like hear the curse words from the crowd, not have to like blur them out and everything. So
yeah.
But hey, everyone who stopped by tonight, man, I know it's late. We appreciate y'all rolling with us. Without you guys, obviously we can't do this show. So thank you for your comments in the stream. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Tell your friends about it. We're always here after every single pay-per-view, whether it's AEW, WWE, and then we're here every Wednesday from 7 to 8. Kasey, go ahead and speak your piece real quick.
7 to 8. We have a good time. We try to do it Action Sports Jacks 24/7, the social media channels. I'm just happy Braun Breaker's the champion. That's all I got to say. If you were here last time, you knew I was upset. Damn it, I'm happy. Here we go.
Braun Breaker, congratulations. Congratulations to Gunther. Dirty Dom, keep living your best life, man. We'll talk about that more on Wednesday. A lot more to break down this Wednesday. We'll talk about AEW. We'll talk about Raw. And we'll talk about Friday Night SmackDown that led up to the SummerSlam event. For Kasey Kurtz, I'm Austen Lane. This has been the Scrap House Special Edition. And we'll see you when we see you. Y'all be safe. Peace.